From 1996 to 2002, Jack Abramoff was a lobbyist who worked with the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, along with 4 other tribes located in Texas, Michigan, and Louisiana. These tribes wanted a stronger presence in Washington, D.C., so they decided to vote for and hire Abramoff's firm. His firm collected around $66 million from these various Indian tribes who were seeking influence in the capital. Further, it came to a point where Abramoff manipulated these tribes in order to win contracts that would in turn be worth millions. That being said, Abramoff was successful in lobbying against a congressional bill that would have taxed Native American casinos as well. He did this by offering favors to politicians that would essentially back his agendas. Abramoff's success would bring in more and more political clients, which he would naturally offer favors to for their votes. He then hired former congressional members and aides as his name spread. In 2001, Abramoff began working with Michael Scanlon, who had founded Capital Campaign Strategies public affairs consulting firm. Together, they worked with the Caucasian tribe of Louisiana to help renegotiate their gaming agreement with the state. However, he was not forthcoming with the information that he would get a cut of the fees paid to Scanlon's firm on top of his own fees. Finally, as will be discussed later in this modern-style documentary, in 2006, Abramoff would be arrested and convicted for his unethical actions. The following information on Jack Abramoff and his defrauding efforts have been created by compiling various interviews and interactions based on this case that have already been completed by outside sources.
Yeah. All right. I know you don't have a lot of time, but for the people that don't know you, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Michael Scanlon.
Alrighty, and how do you know Jack Abramoff?
We kind of go way back, like in 2001. We used to kick it at the government, White House, do a lot of important things like advertise for companies and stuff to make money through the government and law stuff.
All right. Are you comfortable with sharing how you became, an important figure in his defrauding?
Yeah, we kind of just borrowed a lot of money. And when I say borrowed a lot of money, it's kind of like $20 million. Just a small loan, but, it was whatever. But I don't know, we just kind of kicked it off. We worked a lot together. We worked a lot of people. And then before you know it, we were out here just doing things we weren't.
Doing things you weren't supposed to be? All right, then, so to my knowledge, you're like the main co-conspirator in this whole scheme, at least the first one that we know of. But I know there's also a lot of other people that were involved. Are you comfortable, name dropping any of them?
I'm not a snitch, but I'll tell you exactly who was there. This guy named John Albug, Mark Zacharies, Robert Ney, Neil Volz, William Heaton, Natalia Federico, David Scafalian. I don't know his name like that, but that was his name.
Hey.
But it's one of those things where I wouldn't call him my co-conspirator. We're more like Kobe and Shaq. Like we were like this. But yeah, we it was great.
Yeah.
Not great because I ended up getting locked up.
Yeah.
Did 20 months, and I'm never going back. So.
Yep. Are you still friends with him?
We keep in touch, send each other TikToks and whatnot, but nothing crazy.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. I gotta go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jenna Gutierrez, and today I'm here with Sin City 7 News, and I'm actually on the UNLV campus to talk to some students about their thoughts on the punishments given to Jack Abramoff. So for those who haven't heard, Jack Abramoff is a white-collar criminal who committed conspiracy, honest services fraud, and tax evasion charges after fraudulently obtaining $23 million in kickbacks and evading federal income tax payments of approximately $690,000. Abramoff was sentenced to 48 months in prison in order to pay $23,134,695 in restitution to victims for the crimes he committed. And after serving 3.5 years at a minimum security prison in Cumberland, Maryland, he was then released to Baltimore Halfway House, where he worked at a pizza shop for roughly $10 an hour back in 2010 when he was released. He faced 2 major sanctions, one of them being that he cannot have any contact with his former associates or contact with those who he knows are dealers, advisors, agents, or even nationally recognized organizations. The second sanction is that he has already been banned from participating in any kind of stocks, whether it's promoting, offering, or acting like a person who would engage with others in that field for any reason. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get onto campus and talk to some students.
Hi guys, I'm so sorry to bother, but is it okay if I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, what's up?
First, what is your major?
Business.
I'm a criminal justice major.
Okay, nice. Me too. So I'm assuming you know a little bit about white collar crime.
Yeah, I've studied it.
Okay, and are you familiar with the Jack Abramoff case?
I've read about it.
Yeah, a little bit. I read a couple articles.
Okay, and based on his crimes, do you think that they were serious?
Yeah, it was serious. He lied and committed fraud, but was anyone really hurt?
Technically, no one was physically hurt.
That is an incredibly important fact to consider.
Yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
I do think his crimes were serious. He caused millions of dollars in damages, and he used incentives to influence American legislation, which I think is pretty bad.
And would you say, based on the sanctions that were applied to Jack's case, whether that be the imprisonment, the fines, or the community supervision, do you think that they were sufficient for the crime?
Yeah, I think his sanctions were enough. He had to pay back $23 million, which is a lot. It's kind of ridiculous how much. Not to mention that he didn't actually physically kill anyone.
Right.
And he is a convicted felon, which is going to follow him around for employers in the future. For the rest of his life, and he can't really work with his former associates anymore. I definitely think those are enough sanctions to prevent him from committing future crimes.
How long was he in jail for? 4 years?
Yeah, he was sentenced to 4 years, but he only served like 3.5.
Oh wow, yeah. I don't think the sanctions were enough. I think they should have given him more time. Since he harmed multiple tribes, and from what I've seen, he doesn't really seem remorseful for what he's done. Not to mention, he didn't commit fraud just once. Once he was released, he committed it again. So I think he definitely didn't learn his lesson. Not to mention, white collar crimes are punished less severely than street crimes. So I definitely think we should take them more seriously, and he should have been given more serious sanctions.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, on our way to our last victim. Excuse me, do you happen to have any time for some questions?
No, I don't. I gotta go walk my fish.
Oh, wait, but...
Well, thank you, Mr. Abramoff, for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
I'm paid to be here. I want you to know that. Actually, we have to be quick with this. I got a game with Michael Jordan that I got to get to, so let's wrap this up.
Oh, well, I'm sure that's such a pressing matter, but you do understand that you've affected a lot of people, specifically a lot of Native American tribes and casinos with the dealings that you had.
Define affected like this. You affect me right now by making
you obviously took a lot more money than you should have, and you caused a lot of damage to the American people with their opinions and views about the American government, as it caused a lot of hostility between the two as of your coercion.
Listen, me taking the money, I did take money. They gave me money to do a job. They gave me the money so that I could put their views in the ears of certain officials. I did that. There was some left over, and it's a good time of year to go to Italy. So I thought that it still goes to me. As for me affecting the opinions of the American people based on, I don't have any control over people's opinions. That's nothing. I can't control that directly, so that has nothing to do with me.
Well, from what it sounds like, you're really going through a neutralization theory of crime, honestly. Do you know what that means?
Honestly, no, I have no idea.
Well, that just means denying of victims, denying of responsibility, denying of any sort of injury, whether that be physical or financial or even mental.
Okay. Anyway, so where's this going?
Well, can you just justify why you did things?
I did my job. Are we talking about why I went on vacation to Italy? Because I had money left over. That is a part of my services. If there's money left over, it still goes to me. So, I mean, the only thing that I would do differently if I went back, more caviar, probably.
After learning about Jack Abramoff's white-collar crime and the impact it had on society, the question arises, what can be done to prevent these types of crimes? The truth is that there's a need for further research into white-collar crimes to find effective prevention methods for ensuring that these crimes aren't committed in the first place. For white-collar cases, we can focus on monetary restitution and possible restructuring of organizations found guilty of these civil crimes. This will act as a limitation for businesses that will assist them in avoiding any misuse of corporate property, which in Jack's case could have helped prevent actions that surpass government supervision at this time. Still, there are faults with using restitution to punish white-collar criminals. White-collar offenders who have power and respectability will continue to make money, legally or not, and although the victims get relatively fair monetary compensation, it does not protect future citizens from becoming victims of the same crime. For this reason, we believe that rehabilitation programs, such as victim offender meditation, should be used to prevent further criminal acts by offenders. Meditation prevents offenders from continuing with the mindset of denial of injury. In addition, the face-to-face arrangement helps the victim's statements evoke empathy and understanding, which for offenders like Abramoff, who feel that their actions caused no harm, will be helpful in prevention. This modern-style documentary was once again formed by compiling interviews, whether they be formal or done at a local university, to not only understand the background of Jack Abramoff's case, but also to understand how it affected people around him by gaining their insight. We thank you for taking your time to watch this short social media-based documentary.